Clearly, they didn't like that sentiment of what they felt was an insult to Christians around the world, particularly that scene of the Last Supper.
So the French Catholic Church has come out and criticized that Last Supper parody, which was performed by drag queens, as you said. You're near the Vatican in Rome. Have there been other reactions from the Catholic world specifically?
Well, we haven't heard specifically from the Vatican, but we have heard now from those French bishops, as you mentioned. I mean, they started off talking about how there were moments of beauty and joy during the ceremony, but they deeply regretted what they said was scenes of derision and mockery of Christianity. They said Christians could be hurt by these excesses and provocation.
I knew it. Christians are freaking out about the Olympics opening ceremony. I was watching it last night. In fact, I don't think I finished it all the way because I had some people come over. But as soon as I saw that love section where there was like a very androgynous person and it was like a three-way and they went into the room and they were just feeling each other, it didn't show them kissing. I was like, oh, the Christians are gonna go wild. But it didn't stop there. Did you see the part where they're like on these little whoop-de-doop things going like this? Yeah, well then there was people in the street that were dancing and there was two guys holding hands and they kissed. Better than that, there was a very, very gay fashion show. I mean, it opened with Gaga. So we're talking men in heels, we're talking ballerinos who are walking on point, and then they had drag queens. And I called it from the very first moment I saw anything homosexual on that. I was like, they are gonna think this is some right-wing thing when they don't realize that, hey, other countries exist and they're not all like America. They don't all have this weird anti-trans thing. A lot of countries out there are very accepting of people just being people and having freedom. But they think that for some reason the entire world is gonna change because America has been homophobic, transphobic in the past couple of years, passing all these anti-LGBTQIA laws. So of course the Christians are taking it as an attack. It's no longer family-friendly programming.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got to talk about the woke Olympics, who got a whole lot of backlash for this imagery right here, okay? Which a lot of people believe is drag queens mocking the Last Supper, okay? If you guys look at the painting of the Last Supper in this, it looks very similar. I think that the symbolism here is pretty obvious in regards to what they're going for. I mean, clearly this is an attempt to mock Christianity. That's what it is. Let's call it what it is, because again, if you just, pick up the Bible, open it up, Deuteronomy 22:5, you can clearly see that this is something that is prohibited, okay, in the Bible. And the fact that you're trying to mock a Christian story, again, it's just going to rub people the wrong way. Again, especially in a way like this, that again is explicitly prohibited in the Bible. And this is why I say a lot of times about, some of these people who, really want to try to claim Christianity, but at the same time, like they don't want to live the way that they're supposed to live. If you want to be a Christian, it's like, well, if you actually pick up the book, okay, you will quickly learn that, maybe, just maybe your lifestyle is not compatible with Christianity. And that's okay, right? You don't have to be Christian, okay? You can simply just say, hey, you know what? We're not compatible, but to try to make something like this that is clearly prohibited in the Bible compatible with Christianity is, I think, what really bothers people, okay? Christianity is not supposed to be inclusive, okay? Because if you are inclusive of everything, then you don't stand for anything, right? Again, I think that's not a hard concept to understand, but some people do seem to have a hard time understanding it, and then they want to boohoo, whine, and cry when they get backlash, okay? So what's happening here is that the Olympics is getting a whole lot of backlash for this ceremony. In fact, so much backlash that they have deleted the official Paris 2024 opening ceremony video from YouTube, okay? Which is funny because they were essentially putting copyright removals on anybody that reacted to the opening ceremony. And that's what happened to my video yesterday. Some of you guys may have watched it and it may have been cut weird because I literally had to cut part of the video out because the Olympic Committee was issuing copyright removals on the videos. Okay, so I had to cut out part of the video and it probably came out weird. So yeah, it's funny because they ended up actually deleting the video altogether because that's how much backlash they have gotten for having an opening ceremony that is openly mocking Christianity in a way that they would never do for Islam, right? Could you imagine a bunch of drag queens trying to reenact the pilgrimage to Mecca, okay, or the Hajj, when they all kind of, walk around the cube, right? The Kaaba, okay? Yeah, I've never seen anything like that, and we would never see anything like that, and I don't think we should see anything like that, just like we shouldn't be saying anything like we saw when it comes to this reenactment, this mockery of the Last Supper, which, again, has pissed off a whole lot of people.
Yesterday, the opening ceremonies of the Olympics occurred, and something strange happened in my eyes, was how they portrayed the Last Supper. What did you think about that?
I thought it was absolutely disgusting. It is, to me, blasphemy at the highest order, and if it had been of another faith that they were mocking, particularly a faith that is growing rapidly within France because of its immigration problem, that would never have been allowed to happen. And for us as Christians, we've been far too soft for far too long to let this blasphemy and this mockery of our faith continue. It wasn't just the Last Supper, the portrayal of death riding the white horse, the obeisance paid to the golden calf, which is, symbolism of what happened in the wilderness when Israel was between Egypt and the Promised Land. It is just a complete mockery of the Judeo-Christian faiths, and I personally find it abhorrent. I think it's absolutely disgusting.
It's Dr. Roger Gewolb. Roger, did you see that opening ceremony?
It was a brat summer event. I mean, that Last Supper, boop, bop. I mean, I was so. This is France. This is the home of some of, if not the world's greatest culture, cuisine, art, literature. I mean, even today, where did they get the imbeciles that came up with this desecration of Christianity, of Leonardo da Vinci, of so much beauty and so much that's sacred, and turn it into that disgusting vomitory scene? I mean, I had to get some Silabang to clean my television screen. I made so much sick all over it. I mean, I came here from France. I'm bilingual. When I'm in Paris, where my daughter lives, I'm French, I just couldn't believe. I don't know what French people must be feeling today watching that. It's from the planet. It's from the second furthest planet, the one just before Neptune. I'll let our viewers figure that one out. It's disgusting.
Do you know what? What I don't understand, I've ranted on about this a lot already, but the Olympics is all about inclusion. And to me, that Olympic ceremony was the opposite.
Totally.
That is a tiny slither of an elite imposing their ideology on us, having complete disrespect for the vast majority of the world's population who would watch that and frankly be horrified, having to cover their children's eyes.
And the International Olympic Committee members sitting in their, as always, lavish hotel suites, ordering lobster for their chauffeurs and champagne for their mistresses and all the rest of the disgusting expense that they cause. I mean, do you know they spent, what was it, $40 million to build in 2012 that stand here, which they tore down because it was too far to drive about 25 miles. They spent it's obscene. And that these people would allow that to happen and think that that was entertaining. I mean, it made me sick. It made me violently ill. If I didn't have a new television, which I'm still paying off, I would have taken a chair and I would have swung it and broken the damn thing.
Once again, I am pissed off. Our world is an absolute shit show and needs all of our prayers. I get on Facebook to do a little scrolling, and the first thing I see is that the Olympics opened with mocking Jesus' Last Supper. Now, I do not care if you do not believe, whatever. Do I encourage you? Absolutely. But mocking someone or something like that is not okay. Let's think about it. The woke are all concerned about racism and all of this and being mean to other people. Oh, Donald Trump, he was so mean. He made mean comments on Twitter. But it's okay. It's totally fine for them to be woke and mock Jesus Christ. I am just so fed up with the double fucking standards. Oh my God, it just pisses me off to no end.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are pissed off with the double standards of what the left is allowed to get away with in the name of so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion, okay? Because, again, these people really do believe that diversity and inclusion means allowing drag queens to mock religion or somebody's faith. And if you don't agree with that, apparently you are transphobic, you are bigoted, because you're not okay with that. Okay. But when it comes to them and their feelings, oh, you got to walk on eggshells, right? You better not do something that they feel is harmful or disrespectful towards them, or they're going to boo-hoo, whine, and cry hate and bigotry. Okay. This is what they do. And again, I think a lot of people are fed up. They're simply fed up with the woke nonsense. And what you saw at the Olympics was a representation of the woke nonsense getting out of control. You have people that have become way too comfortable openly disrespecting people's faiths. Okay. They feel like they're on top of the world and that they're powerful because they're being given a platform by individuals that want to elevate this woke nonsense. And a lot of people are just fed up with it. Okay. They're done. Okay. Again, they are now calling for a boycott. People are saying that everybody who's upset by this should boycott the Olympics. I mean, I'm boycotting by default because I'm not watching the Olympics. But I'm just saying, this is even more reason why I wouldn't even have it on my TV in the background or something like that, right? So you have Donald Trump Jr. trashing, quote unquote, satanic Olympics over Last Supper parody. Advertiser pulls ads after controversy. Okay, so the Olympics is already feeling the hurt here because in addition to calls for boycotting, a major advertiser has pulled out. So let's read here. An uproar over the 2024 Olympics picked up steam on Saturday evening as at least one company announced it would suspend a planned ad campaign over what Donald Trump Jr. branded as a satanic opening ceremony moment. The Friday ceremony brought angry responses from Christian groups in France and Italy, along with outrage from scores of conservative and Christian Americans online for a, quote, parody of Da Vinci's The Last Supper that featured drag queens. Many branded the performance as a blatant attempt to insult Christians and mock Christ. Among them, Republican Speaker of the House, Representative Mike Johnson. Other prominent conservatives continued to weigh in on the production throughout the day Saturday. Donald Trump Jr. also responded on X, formerly Twitter, slamming the Olympics for a display that he described as seemingly satanic. Meanwhile, the American-based telecommunications company C Spire, which offers fiber internet and mobile phone service, announced it would suspend all advertising throughout the duration of the Olympics. Quote, "We were shocked by the mockery of the Last Supper during the opening ceremonies of the Paris Olympics. C Spire will be pulling our advertising from the Olympics." Yeah, so, I mean, listen, what does the left say all the time about this, right? Private corporations have the right to do this. Okay, they have the right to say they don't want to support stuff like this. And this is just one company that has pulled out already. Okay, we'll see if more companies continue to do so. But again, you know, it's about time that corporate America actually stands up for Christians. Okay, because we know how much they stand up for the woke nonsense. Maybe it's about time they stand up for people of faith. I'm just saying, okay, they stand up for the right values, right? I mean, I don't know. But yeah, so you have a ton of people that are speaking out about this, including Harrison Buckner, who put out this Bible verse in response, quote, "Be not deceived, God is not mocked, for what things a man shall sow, those also shall he reap, for he that soweth in his flesh, of the flesh also shall reap corruption, but he that soweth in the Spirit, of the Spirit shall reap life everlasting." And you have James Langford. He said, "Why would the Olympics in the city of Paris mock the Last Supper? What part of the Olympic spirit includes mocking Jesus? NBC and the Olympic Committee would never mock any other faith, but they think it's funny to belittle one of the most significant moments in Christianity. I'm calling a complete and total boycott of the Satanic Olympics, mock billions of Christians, and find out." Dana Loesch says, "More religious shock art, not at all boring or unoriginal. With this piece, the artist was trying to convey the irony of pretending to be an underrepresented victim while attempting to offend others." Yeah, so, you know, you got a lot of people speaking out about this, a lot of people calling to boycott the Olympics, and I hope that this is just another example of get woke, go broke, okay? Because this was completely 100% unnecessary. They could have just had their little drag show and just done normal things, right, and be done with it. I don't think they should have had a drag show at all, but I'm just saying they could have done a normal drag show, and maybe, who knows, maybe this is a part of drag, right? Maybe this is what they normally do, okay? But, you know, Christians don't attend drag shows, so they could have just done a normal thing, and they would have got nearly as much backlash, right? But again, they did this because, you know, apparently they want to be included, right? For inclusion. This is what Thomas Jolly, the ceremony's artistic director, said about the production. He said it was meant to convey inclusion. Quote, when we want to include everyone and not exclude anyone, questions are raised, he said at a press conference Saturday. Jolly concluded. Our subject was not to be subversive. We never wanted to be subversive. We wanted to talk about diversity. Diversity means being together. We wanted to include everyone, as simple as that. In France, we have a freedom of creation, artistic freedom. We are lucky in France to live in a free country. I didn't have any specific messages that I wanted to deliver. In France, we are a republic. We have the right to love whom we want. We have the right not to be worshipers. We have the right, a lot of rights in France, and this is what I wanted to convey. Yeah, so again, we wanted to openly mock Christians to say, listen, we have the right to do that, so therefore we're going to do it, right? Just because you have the right to do it doesn't mean that you should do it. There are some things that you should just generally not do for the sake of not offending people, especially when you're talking about religion, okay? When you talk about people's faith, it's just best for you not to mock people's faith, even if you have the right to do so. And again, I'm not saying that you should be thrown in jail for it, okay? But just maybe just out of respect and just decency, you just shouldn't do it, especially if you want to be included, okay? Maybe you shouldn't piss off and offend the people that you want to accept your lifestyle by mocking their religion and their faith. That's just not a good idea. So, hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.